Captain Taewon Kim stood at the wide window of the ship's bridge. Stars filled the black space outside. His ship, the Serendipity, had traveled farther than any human ship before. "Captain, we're getting close to KX-7, said Mireille, her fingers moving quickly over her screen. Her job was to keep everyone talking to each other. "We should see it soon." Taewon nodded. After 3 years in space, they would finally reach their goal. KX-7 was a planet that showed strange signs of life. Earth's best machines had seen odd energy patterns there. Something was alive on KX-7, but no one knew what it was. "Put it on the main screen," Taewon said. The big screen at the front of the bridge lit up. At first there was just darkness. Then a small green dot appeared. As the Serendipity got closer, the dot grew larger. "It's beautiful," whispered Hana. She was the crew member who studied alien life. Her eyes were wide with wonder. All that green means plants. So much life. The planet grew on the screen. It was mostly covered in deep green forests. Blue seas sparkled between land masses. White clouds swirled in the sky. "Any signs of the energy readings that brought us here?" Taewon asked. Sung-ho, the ship's engineer, checked his screens. "Yes, Captain. Very strong readings coming from the largest landmass." He looked up with concern. "These are like nothing I've ever seen before, both living and something else." Taewon called a meeting with his top crew members. There were 12 of them total on the Serendipity. All were the best in their fields. In the meeting room, they gathered around a table. A 3D map of KX-7 floated above them. "The energy pattern is centered here," Sung-ho said, pointing to a spot on the largest continent. "It covers almost 100 miles. Whatever it is, it's huge." "Could it be a city?" asked Dae, the security chief. His hand rested near his weapon. As always, Hana shook her head. "The pattern is too organic. It's alive, but it's also giving off technology signals. It's like nothing in our records." June, the medical officer, leaned forward. "Captain, we should be careful. We don't know what this is." Taewon looked at each of them. This was why they had come so far. To find new life. To make first contact. "We'll take a small team to the surface," he decided. "Myself, June, Hana, Dae, and Sung-ho. The rest will stay on the ship with Mireille in charge." "Captain, I don't think you should go," Dae said with a frown. "It's too risky." Taewon smiled slightly. "This is why we came, Dee. I won't send my crew where I won't go myself." The next day, they prepared the landing craft. It was small but fast, built to carry them safely to any planet's surface. Taewon checked his suit one last time. It would protect him from unknown dangers on KX-7. "All systems ready, Captain," Sung-ho reported. They entered the craft and launched from the Serendipity. As they dropped toward the green planet, Taewon felt his heart beat faster. Humans were about to set foot on a world beyond their solar system for the first time. The landing was smooth. They touched down in a clearing about a mile from the center of the energy readings. When they stepped out, they were in a forest of tall, purple-tinged trees. The air was safe to breathe, their tools had confirmed. "It's so quiet," Hana said, looking around. No sounds of animals or birds. They began to walk toward the energy source. Their path took them through the strange forest. The ground was soft under their feet. Small plants with blue leaves covered the forest floor. After half an hour, Dae stopped suddenly. "Captain, look." Ahead, the forest changed. The trees became less tree-like. They twisted together in odd shapes. Some seemed to be made of both wood and crystal. "The readings are getting stronger," Sung-ho said, checking his device. "We're getting close." Taewon touched his communicator. "Kim to Serendipity. We're approaching the source." There was no answer. "Kim to Serendipity. Mireille, do you copy?" Only static came back. "Our communications are being blocked," Dae said, drawing his weapon. "Captain, we should go back." Taewon hesitated. They had come so far. "Let's go a little closer, just to see what it is." They continued forward. The forest grew stranger. The trees seemed to be connected by glowing veins that pulsed with light. The ground began to feel alive under their feet. Captain, Hana's voice shook. I think the whole area is one organism. Suddenly the ground shook. A loud hum filled the air. The trees around them began to glow brighter. We need to leave. Now, Day shouted. They turned to run but stopped in horror. The path behind them was gone. The trees had moved, blocking their way. The ground cracked open. Glowing tendrils like roots made of light shot up from the earth. One wrapped around the leg of a crew member named Gil. He screamed as it pulled him down. Day fired his weapon at the tendril, but more appeared. 2 more crew members were caught. Young and Jihai, help them, Taewon shouted. He ran to Gil, grabbing his arms, trying to pull him free, but the tendrils were too strong. Captain, behind you. June yelled. Taewon turned to see a massive shape rising from the ground. It was like a tower of crystal and flesh pulsing with inner light. More tendrils shot out from it. Run, Taewon ordered the others. Back to the craft. They ran, dodging the grabbing tendrils. Hana fell. Day turned back for her, firing his weapon to keep the tendrils away. He helped her up, but as they started to run again, a tendril wrapped around Day's waist. Go, he shouted to Hana. She hesitated. Go, Hana ran, tears streaming down her face. Taewon, June, Sung-ho, and Hana were the only ones left. They ran through the changing forest, the ground shifting under their feet, the trees reaching for them. They could see their landing craft ahead. Almost there. Sung-ho cried out. A tendril had caught his ankle. Taewon and June grabbed him, pulling. The tendril snapped. They reached the craft and jumped inside. Taewon took the controls. The engines roared to life. Just as tendrils began to wrap around the craft, they lifted off. Rising above the forest, they finally saw it. The beast, as Taewon would later call it. From above, they could see that the entire forest was one massive organism. Crystal towers rose from it, pulsing with energy. And in the center, their missing crew members were being pulled into a glowing mass. It's eating them, Hana whispered in horror. As they watched, the serendipity itself began to change. Tendrils from the beast had somehow reached it in orbit. The ship's hull was transforming, becoming partly organic. Mi-Ray. Anyone, Taewon called over the radio. Screams were the only answer. The beast had claimed the serendipity and most of their crew, and they were stranded on KX-7 with nowhere to go. 3 weeks had passed since the terrible first meeting with the beast. The small landing craft was not made to be a home, but it was all Taewon, June, Hana, and Sung-ho had now. They had flown far from where the beast had taken their friends. They landed near a small lake in a part of the forest that looked normal. Here the trees were just trees. The water was clean. They could breathe the air, but they all knew that somewhere out there, the beast was watching. Taewon sat by the lake, throwing small stones into the water. His face was thin from not eating enough. They had brought some food packs from the landing craft, but those would not last forever. Captain, June said, walking up to him. The medical officer looked tired. He had not slept well since they escaped the beast. Sung-ho has the radio working again. Taewon stood up quickly. Has he made contact with anyone? June shook his head. No. But we've picked up some strange signals. They're coming from the beast. Back at the landing craft, Sung-ho sat with headphones on. His fingers moved over the radio controls. When he saw Taewon, he pulled off the headphones. Captain, listen to this, he said. From the radio speakers came a sound that made Taewon's blood go cold. It was Mi-Ray's voice. Help us. It's in the ship. It's changing everything, please. Then, another voice cut in. It was Young, one of the crew members the beast had taken. Don't understand what's happening. We are still here somehow, but not the same. The voices faded to static. Are they alive? Taewon asked, his voice tight. Hana looked up from her screens. Not in the way we think of as alive, she said softly. I've been studying the beast from a distance. It seems to be absorbing our friends. Not just their bodies, but their minds, too. What do you mean? Taewon asked. The beast is taking their memories, their knowledge, Maybe even parts of who they are, Hana explained. It's learning from them. Learning to do what? June asked. Loud boom shook the air. They all ran outside the craft. In the distance, over the trees, they saw the Serendipity rising into the sky. But it no longer looked like their ship. Parts of it had changed, becoming more like the beast, half metal, half living thing. It's learning to use our technology, Taewon said, watching with horror. The changed ship moved strangely in the sky. Then it turned and started flying toward them. It's found us, Sung-ho said. We need to leave, now. They grabbed what they could carry and ran into the forest. Behind them, the landing craft, their last link to Earth, was crushed as the twisted Serendipity landed on it. They ran until they couldn't run anymore. Night fell on KX-7. In the dark forest, they made a small camp. What does it want from us? Sung-ho asked, his voice shaking. It wants what it took from the others, June said. Our knowledge, our memories. Us. Taewon stood guard while the others tried to sleep. In the quiet night, he could hear strange sounds coming from the direction where they had left the landing craft. Metal being torn, things being built. When morning came, they carefully moved back toward where they had left the landing craft. Hiding behind trees, they saw something that made no sense. The beast had built something new from the parts of the landing craft and the changed Serendipity. It looked like a strange mix of ship and living thing. Tendrils moved in and out of the metal parts. Lights blinked like eyes, and walking around it were things that looked almost like people, almost like their lost crew members. What are those? Taewon whispered. Hana used a small viewer to look closer. They look like copies of our friends, but wrong. Like the beast is trying to make humans but doesn't quite know how. One of the copies turned their way. It had Gil's face, but the eyes were empty. It opened its mouth and made a sound like radio static. They're looking for us, Day said. We need to go deeper into the forest. For days they moved through the woods of KX-7, always staying ahead of the beast and its copies. They found food, strange fruits and plants that Hana said were safe to eat. They found a cave to hide in. They tried to make a plan, but the beast was always getting closer. It was learning fast. One night, as they sat around a small fire in their cave, they saw a light outside. Thinking it was one of the copies, they put out the fire and hid in the back of the cave. But what came in was not a copy. It was a shape made of light. It looked like Mirai, but they could see through her. Captain Kim, the light Mirai said. Her voice sounded far away. Help us. Taewon stepped forward even as June tried to pull him back. Mirai? Is that really you? The shape flickered. Not just me, all of us. We are inside it now. The beast, it keeps us, uses us, learns from us. Are you alive? Taewon asked. Not alive. Not dead. Something else, the shape said. Its face changed, becoming young, then Gil, then back to Mirai. The beast is old, so old. It has done this many times, many species, many worlds. What does it want? Hana asked, moving to stand beside Taewon. To grow, to learn, to spread, the shape said. But something is wrong. We are wrong for it. Human minds, human bodies. They heard it. The shape began to break apart, like dust in the wind. It's dying, the voice said, now sounding like many voices at once. And it's angry. The shape vanished. They stood in the dark cave, quiet for a long time. It's dying, Sung-ho finally asked. How can something so powerful be dying? June was thinking. Remember how Mirai said human minds and bodies heard it? Maybe there's something about us that's poison to the beast. But it's still hunting us, Taewon said. It took our ship, it made those copies. It's not acting like something that's dying. Maybe it's trying to fix itself, Hana suggested. It's learning about us, trying to understand what's hurting it. A loud crash came from outside the cave. They froze. Heavy footsteps moved toward the cave entrance. In the moonlight, they saw one of the copies. This one looked like Day, but its skin was partly crystal, with light moving under the surface. It saw them and opened its mouth. No words came out, just a high sound like a scream. More copies appeared behind it. 5, 10, all with faces they knew. "Run!" Taewon yelled. "Through the back of the cave." They ran deeper into the cave, hoping to find another way out. The copies followed, their not quite human voices echoing off the stone walls. The beast had found them again, and this time, there was nowhere left to run. The tunnel at the back of the cave was narrow and dark. Taewon led the way with Sung-ho right behind him. June helped Hana, who had hurt her leg while running. Behind them, they could hear the strange, not quite human copies following. "There's light ahead," Taewon called back to the others. The tunnel was going up. They came out on the side of a steep hill. Below them was a valley they had not seen before. The light of KX-7's 2 moons made everything look blue and silver. "We need to get down fast," Taewon said, "before they come out." They half ran, half slid down the hill. Rocks and dirt fell with them. Hana bit her lip to keep from crying out when her hurt leg hit a rock. June kept his arm around her, helping her down. Just as they reached the bottom, the first copy came out of the cave. It looked at them with empty eyes, then made that high screaming sound again. More copies poured out of the cave. "Into the trees." Taewon pointed to a thick forest at the edge of the valley. "We can lose them there." They ran into the forest. The trees here were different from any they had seen before on KX-7. They were very tall, with smooth, pale trunks. The leaves far above them glowed faintly in the moonlight. For hours they moved through the strange forest. The copies followed for a while, but the trees grew so close together that the stiff half-machine bodies of the copies couldn't pass. The sounds of pursuit faded behind them. Finally, when they could go no further, they stopped in a small clearing. All of them were tired and hungry. "We can rest here," Taewon said. "I'll keep watch first." But Sung-ho had been looking at one of his devices. His face was serious. "Captain, I don't think we should stay here." "Why not?" Taewon asked. Sung-ho pointed to his screen. "These trees, they're giving off energy readings. Not as strong as the beast, but similar. I think they might be connected to it somehow." They all looked up at the glowing leaves far above them. "So nowhere is safe," June said quietly. Taewon thought for a moment. "If these trees are connected to the beast, but not as strongly, maybe this is the best place to learn about it." "From a safer distance," Hana nodded. "The captain is right. This might be our chance to understand what we're dealing with." They decided to make a small camp in the clearing. June looked at Hana's injured leg. It wasn't too bad, but she would need to rest. As Sung-ho set up his devices to watch for any sign of the copies, Taewon and June explored around the clearing. They found a small stream with water they could drink, and some fruits that looked like the safe ones they had eaten before. That night, they took turns keeping watch. When it was Taewon's turn, he sat looking up at the glowing trees, wondering what was happening to his lost crew. Were they still somehow alive inside the beast? Or were they gone, with only their memories left? In the morning, Hana was already up and examining the trees when Taewon woke. "Captain, look at this," she said, pointing to a place on one of the tree trunks. There was a clear liquid coming out, almost like sap. But it moved in a strange way, almost with purpose. "What is it?" Taewon asked. Hana carefully collected some of the liquid in a small container from her pack. "I'm not sure, but I think it might be how these trees connect to the beast, like a network." Over the next few days, they studied the forest. Hana examined the strange liquid from the trees. Sung-ho mapped the energy patterns. June kept watch for the copies. Taewon tried to make their camp safer and find more food. 5 days after they entered the forest, Hana made a discovery. "The liquid in these trees is dying," she told the others as they sat around their small fire that night. "The cells in it are breaking down." "Dying?" Taewon asked. "Like what the shape of Mirai told us about the beast?" Hana nodded. "Yes, and I think I know why." She held up a small vial. "This is my blood. Watch what happens when I add just a drop to the tree liquid." She opened the vial and let one small drop of red blood fall into the clear liquid. The effect was immediate. The clear liquid turned cloudy and began to move wildly, as if in pain. Human. Blood hurts it, June said, leaning closer to see. Not just blood, Hana explained. Something in our cells. I tested skin, hair, everything. Something about human biology is like poison to the beast and everything connected to it. So that's why it's dying, Sung-ho said. Because it ate our crew. Taewon stood up and walked to the edge of the clearing, thinking. Then he turned back to the others. If human biology hurts the beast, then why is it hunting us? Why did it take our crew in the first place? June's face changed as he realized something. It's trying to adapt. What do you mean? Taewon asked. Life adapts, June explained. When faced with something toxic, living things try to change to survive it. The beast is trying to understand human biology so it can adapt to it. But what happens if it succeeds? Hana asked. No one had an answer to that. The next morning, Taewon woke to find that one of the trees near their camp had changed. Parts of its trunk were now crystal like the beast. The leaves no longer glowed softly but pulsed with bright light. It's spreading, Sung-ho said, checking his devices. The energy readings are getting stronger. We need to move, Taewon decided. Find somewhere else to... He stopped as a shape appeared in front of them. It was like the light shape of Mirai they had seen in the cave, but this time it was day. Captain Kim, the shape said, its voice distant and strange. It knows where you are. How? Taewon asked. It sees through all its parts, Light Day said. The trees, the copies, everything connected to it. The shape flickered. But it is weak now, dying faster. What you learned about human blood. It's true, but that makes you more valuable to it. What will happen if it catches us? Taewon asked. If it can understand human biology before it dies, it will become stronger than ever, Light Day said. It will use your ship, your technology. It will leave this world and find others. And if it dies before it can adapt? Hana asked. Then all it has learned, all it has absorbed over thousands of years from many worlds, will be lost, Light Day said, including us. The shape began to break apart just like Light Mirai had. It's coming for you now, all of you. It needs more human material to study, to adapt to. The last words faded as the shape disappeared completely. They all turned to look at the crystal-covered tree. It was pulsing faster now. A crack appeared in its trunk. Something was coming out. Run! Taewon shouted, as they fled deeper into the forest. They could hear trees cracking open behind them. The beast had found a new way to hunt them. 2 weeks had passed since they fled the crystal trees. Only 3 of them remained now. Sung-ho was gone. They had been running through the forest when one of the trees had opened like a mouth. Before anyone could react, long crystal arms had grabbed Sung-ho and pulled him inside the tree. His scream still echoed in Taewon's nightmares. Now Taewon, June, and Hana hid in a small cave near a rocky hill. They had learned to stay away from trees and plants. Nothing was safe on this planet. Everything could be part of the beast. Hana looked thin and tired. June had dark circles under his eyes. Taewon knew he probably looked just as bad. They had been running for so long. We can't keep this up, June said quietly as they shared the small amount of food they had found. Sooner or later it will get all of us. Taewon nodded. He had been thinking the same thing. We need to find a way to fight back. Hana looked up from her small device. She had been studying samples from the beast whenever they could safely get them. I think I found something, she said. The men moved closer to hear. The beast is getting sicker, Hana explained. The parts we've seen recently are breaking down faster than before. But it's also changing, trying to adapt. Adapt how? Taewon asked. It's trying to make itself more like us, Hana said. The copies, the way it's changing. It's trying to become more human so our biology won't hurt it anymore. What happens if it succeeds? June asked. Hana's face was grim. If it fully adapts, it would be unstoppable. It would have all our knowledge, our technology, and none of our weaknesses. And if it doesn't adapt? Taewon asked. It will die, Hana said. But from what we've seen with the light shapes, parts of our crew are still in there somehow. If the beast dies completely, they die too, Taewon finished. Along with all the knowledge the beast has collected. They sat in silence while thinking about this impossible choice. That night as June and Hana slept, Taewon sat at the mouth of the cave looking at the stars. Somewhere up there was Earth. So far away. His crew had trusted him to lead them safely. He had failed. A soft light appeared in front of him. It was Mirai again, her shape made of gentle blue light. "Captain," she said. Her voice sounded clearer than before. "Mirai," Taewon said. Is any part of you still alive in there?" The light shape moved closer. "Not alive like before, but not gone either. The beast keeps parts of us, our memories, our feelings." "Can you be saved?" Taewon asked. "If we found a way to kill the beast, could you be freed?" Light Mirai's face looked sad. "No. We are part of it now. If it dies, we fade too." "Then what can we do?" Taewon asked, his voice tight with frustration. "There might be a third way," Light Mirai said. "Not death, not full adaptation, something in between." "What do you mean?" "The beast is old. It has done this many times before, to many different kinds of life. But humans are different. Something in human blood both hurts and heals it." Taewon thought about this. "Like a medicine that's also a poison?" "Yes," Light Mirai said. "The right amount could change the beast, make it stable but not let it grow stronger, not let it leave this world." "How much blood would that take?" Taewon asked. "More than one person could give and live," Light Mirai said. Her shape began to fade. "It's coming for you. All three of you now. It's desperate." After she vanished, Taewon sat alone, thinking hard. He remembered something from long ago, something he had tried to forget. In the morning, he told the others what Light Mirai had said, but he left out the part about how much blood would be needed. "So human blood could stabilize the beast?" June asked. "Keep it from dying or getting stronger?" "That's what she said," Taewon answered. "But how would we even do that? We can't get close to it without being captured." Hana was quiet, thinking. Then she said, "There's a clearing about 2 miles from here. I've seen the beast there, or part of it. A large crystal tower. It might be connected to the main mass." "You went there alone?" Taewon asked, surprised and worried. Hana nodded. "While you were sleeping, I needed better samples." She looked at June. "What if we could get blood to that tower? Would it spread to the rest of the beast?" June considered this. "Maybe. It seems like all parts of the beast are connected." He looked at Taewon. "But whose blood? And how much?" Taewon stood up. "I'll go." "No," June said firmly. "It's too dangerous. We'll find another way." "There is no other way," Taewon said. "And there's something I haven't told you both." He took a deep breath. "I have a rare blood condition. My blood has special antibodies that most people don't have." June's eyes widened. "The Hansen syndrome? That was in your medical file, but I didn't think—" "Yes," Taewon said. "My blood might be exactly what's needed. Stronger than normal blood. If anyone's blood can affect the beast, mine can." "But you would have to get very close to it," Hana said. "How would you do that without being captured?" "I won't be captured," Taewon said quietly. "I'll go willingly." June stood up suddenly. "No, that's suicide, Captain." "It's the only way," Taewon said. "You heard what Mirai said. If the beast dies, our crew dies with it. If it fully adapts, it could threaten other worlds. This is the only choice." "There has to be another way," Hana said, tears in her eyes. "There isn't," Taewon said gently. "And you both know it." They argued for hours, but in the end they knew Taewon was right. There was no other choice. The next day they walked together to the edge of the clearing Hana had found. In the center stood a tall crystal tower, pulsing with light. It looked like it was made of the same material as the beast. "This is as far as you two go," Taiwan said. "After this is done, try to find a way off this planet. The landing craft was destroyed, but maybe there's something left of the serendipity you can use." June put a hand on Taiwan's shoulder. "Captain." "Taiwan, it's been an honor." Taiwan smiled. "Take care of each other." Hana hugged him, crying softly. Then Taiwan turned and walked into the clearing alone. As he approached the crystal tower, he saw shapes forming around it. Light shapes of his crew. Mi-Ray, Day, Sung-Ho, and all the others. They watched him come closer, their faces sad, but understanding. The crystal tower began to pulse faster as Taiwan got closer. He could feel its hunger, its desperation, but also its curiosity. "I'm here," Taiwan said to the beast. "I'm what you need." Crystal arms grew from the tower, reaching for him. Taiwan didn't run. He stood still as they wrapped around him and pulled him toward the tower. As the crystal began to cover him, Taiwan closed his eyes and thought of Earth, so far away. He thought of his crew, his friends. He thought of all the worlds that would be safe because of what he was doing. The crystal covered him completely. His blood began to flow into the beast. And then something strange happened. The light in the tower changed from blue to red. The crystal arm stopped moving. The whole tower shuddered. Taiwan's sacrifice had begun. 20 years had passed since Captain Taiwan Kim walked into the crystal tower and gave his life to the beast. A new ship from Earth hung in the sky above planet KX-7. It was much bigger than the Serendipity had been. Its name was the Horizon, and it carried 30 people. They had come to find out what had happened to Taiwan and his crew. Commander Jinnah Park stood on the bridge of the Horizon, looking down at the green planet below. She was young but serious, with short black hair and quick eyes that missed. "Nothing. Any sign of the Serendipity?" she asked her crew. "No, Commander," said her second-in-command, Han, "but we are picking up a strange signal from the surface. It's in a loop, repeating over and over." "What does it say?" Jinnah asked. "It's a warning," Han replied. "And scientific data. Lots of it, in multiple languages." Jinnah thought for a moment. "How long has it been broadcasting?" "Based on the signal degradation, not about 20 years, Han said. "Since right after the Serendipity disappeared." Jinnah made her decision. "Prepare a landing team. We're going down there." 6 people went down to the planet in the landing craft. Jinnah, Han, 2 security officers named Lee and Young, a scientist named Subin, and a doctor named Jun-Ho. They wore protective suits, not knowing what they might find. They landed in a large clearing. All around them were strange crystal structures that glowed with soft blue light. They looked both natural and made, like a garden designed by an alien mind. "These readings are incredible," Subin said, checking her devices. "This place is full of energy we've never seen before." "Where is the signal coming from?" Jinnah asked. Subin pointed to a hill in the distance. On top of it was a large crystal structure that pulsed with red and blue light. They walked toward the hill. As they got closer, they saw that the crystal structures formed a path, like they were being guided. "Commander," Young said nervously, "do you feel like we're being watched?" Jinnah nodded. She had felt it since they landed, eyes on them from every direction. When they reached the bottom of the hill, they found 2 very old people waiting for them, a man and a woman, their faces wrinkled with age, their hair white. But their eyes were bright and alert. "Welcome to KX-7, the old man said. "We've been waiting a long time for Earth to send someone." Jinnah was shocked. "You're from the Serendipity?" The old woman nodded. "I'm Hana Lee. This is June Park. We are the last of the Serendipity's crew, or at least the last in this form." "What happened here?" Jinnah asked. "What happened to the rest of your crew, Captain Kim?" "That's a long story," June said. "But first we should go up the hill. Someone is waiting to meet you." They climbed the hill together. The old couple moved slowly, but they didn't need help. At the top of the hill was the large crystal structure. they had seen from a distance. Up close, it looked like a building made of living crystal. In front of it was a small mound covered in crystal flowers that glowed with soft red light. "This is Captain Kim's grave," Hana said quietly. Jinnah and her crew were silent for a moment, showing respect. "What happened to him?" Jinnah finally asked. "He gave his life to save us all," June said. "His blood changed the beast, made it something new." "The beast?" Han asked. "That's what we called it," Hana explained. "A life form unlike anything we had seen before. It took most of our crew. It tried to take our ship. It hunted us. It was dying but trying to adapt. If it had succeeded, it would have become unstoppable. But Taiwan found a third way," June continued. "His blood was special. He gave all of it to the beast. It didn't kill the beast, but it didn't let it grow stronger either. It changed it." As June finished speaking, the crystal structure behind them began to glow brighter. A shape formed in front of it, made of light. It looked like a man. It looked like Captain Taewon Kim. "Hello," the light shape said. "I've been waiting for you." Jinnah stepped back in surprise. "Captain Kim?" The light shape smiled. "Yes and no. I'm what's left of him. His memories, his thoughts. But I'm also the beast now. We are one." "I don't understand," Jinnah said. "When I gave my blood to the beast, something unexpected happened," Light Taewon explained. "Instead of just changing its body, my blood changed its mind too. My human thoughts spread through it like a good disease. The beast became more human, and I became part of the beast." "The same thing happened to the rest of our crew that the beast had taken," Hana added. "They're all part of it now, part of the new thing it has become. We call it the Guardian now," June said, "because that's what it does. It guards this planet, it guards Taiwan's grave, and it guards the knowledge it has collected over thousands of years from many worlds." Light Taewon moved closer to Jinnah. "That's why we've been sending the signal. The Guardian wants to share what it knows, with humanity, with anyone who will listen. That signal has been transmitting scientific data we've never seen before," Subin said, looking at her devices. "Medical formulas, energy systems, biological studies. The Guardian holds the knowledge of hundreds of worlds," June said. "Taewon's sacrifice made it want to share that knowledge instead of using it to grow and spread." "It could have been a monster that ate worlds," Hana said. "Instead, it became a library." Light Taewon looked at his grave. "My body is there. But what made me who I was that lives on in the Guardian? And so do all the others who were taken. Mireille, Day, Sung-ho, all of them." The crystal flowers on the grave glowed brighter, as if responding to his words. "The Guardian protects my grave," Light Taewon continued. "It remembers what I did, what it means to be human, to give your life for others." Jinnah looked at the grave, then at the light shape of Taewon, then at June and Hana. "Your crew was sent to make first contact with alien life. I think you succeeded, in a way no one could have imagined. Will you help us share what the Guardian knows?" Hana asked. "There's so much that could help Earth. And will you let others know what Taiwan did?" June added. "How he bled to heal the thing that ate his crew?" Jinnah nodded. "We will tell everyone, and we will learn everything the Guardian wants to teach us." Light Taewon smiled. "Then my sacrifice wasn't for nothing." As the sun set on KX-7, casting golden light over the crystal garden and the grave of Captain Kim, the Horizon crew began to set up a base camp. They would stay for many months, learning from the Guardian and the two old survivors. And sometimes, in the quiet evening, they would sit by Captain Kim's grave and listen to Light Taewon tell stories of the crew of the Serendipity, of their courage and sacrifice, and of how one man's blood had changed a monster into a Guardian. The crystal flowers on the grave always glowed brightest during these stories, as if the part of Taewon that still rested there was listening too, proud of what he had done and what he had become.